Hello everyone, and welcome to a new video tutorial for Maverick Render. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to camera match using a free program called fSpy and how to bring that camera into Maverick. Here's the original photo, alongside the final composite made in Maverick. We've also included another example using a second photo. As I mentioned, we'll be using a tool called fSpy. It's completely free software and super easy to use. You just need to download and install it. We'll walk through how it works and how to use the cameras it generates right inside Maverick. Once it's installed, open it up and just drag and drop your image directly in. The process basically involves snapping the axis control points onto the image's vanishing lines. Start by moving the first point roughly where you want it. If you hold down Shift, a magnifier will pop up so you can place the point with pinpoint accuracy. Let's place the second point for the x-axis. We'll do the same for the y-axis, dropping its 2 points into place. If your z-axis happens to point downward, you'll need to flip the x-axis by selecting the negative x option in the panel. That way, the z-axis will correctly point up. Under 3D Guide, let's select an XY plane. Now you can move the plane around to double-check that the camera perspective lines up with the image. The center point of this guide is going to be the coordinate origin for your scene. Let's snap it onto a corner of the table. If you feel the camera needs tweaking, you can add a third vanishing point. Under Principal Point, choose the option to add a third point so we can visualize the z-axis. Place the new points, holding Shift to make sure they're accurate. Let's check the plane one more time and set our origin point. Next, and this is super important, we need to set the real-world scale by enabling Reference Distance. We'll work along the x-axis and place the points on the edges of the table. Since we know this table is exactly 46 centimeters wide, we'll type in 46. Hit Enter to confirm and make sure the unit is set to centimeters. Just like that, we've set up the scale for our scene. Finally, let's save the file as Table A. Moving on, here's our alarm clock model created in Rhino. The model is cleanly organized into layers based on materials as usual. We'll use our Rhino Bridge plugin to send the model over instantly. Once inside Maverick, you can see the model has kept its original layer structure. Let's quickly texture these objects. Open the library and head over to the Polished Plastic Materials. For the main body, just drag and drop a gray material right onto it. For the buttons, we'll grab a metal from the Painted Clean category. Apply that same gray body material to the top circle. For the front face or bezel, we'll use a black plastic. For the glass, head into the clear transparents. We'll use a white, thin glass material, which is perfect for very thin geometry or flat panels. Drag some black plastic straight onto the legs in the IPR. We'll use a polished white plastic for the lettering. Apply that same button metal to the outer ring and the inner screen details. For the screen itself, drop on a basic white emissive material. Let's hide the glass for a second to make things easier to see. Drag our custom clock texture onto the emissive material and plug it into emission intensity. Since the texture mapping is off, we need to set up UVs. Right-click the object and create a UV map. Change the mapping type from cube to planar. Align the map to the x-axis and rotate it 90 degrees. Hit Fit to Owner so it automatically sizes perfectly to the object. The mapping is spot on now, so we can hide the gizmo. To tweak the screen color, change the emissive color parameter to a light blue tint. Let's throw some decorative stickers onto the buttons. Open the Stickers category in the library. Drag your chosen design straight onto the button. Set its size to 1 centimeter and move it into place. Swap the sticker's base material to plastic. Darken it up by lowering the weight parameter. Repeat that process to add a second sticker. And then a third Wi-Fi icon on the top button. If the sticker gets stuck because of the geometry, just turn off surface mode. That lets you rotate and position it freely using the Move tool. Change its material to black plastic as well. Hit Purge to clean up any leftover materials we aren't using anymore. It's good practice to save your scene often by going to File, Save As. Now, open Maverick's built-in fSpy importer. Pick that Table A file we saved earlier. Make sure the units are set to centimeters. Tick the box to create a floor using the table's surface dimensions, 46 long by 38 wide. Check Set Active Camera and hit OK. The camera will pop right into our scene. Drag the original photo into the IPR, and it'll automatically assign itself as a backplate. Choose Send File Text Resolution so your render matches the backplate's resolution. Select the floor plane and exclusively use the Move tool to line it up with the photo. Remember, don't rotate your view here, or you'll break the camera match. Unhide the clock and move it into its final resting spot on the table. If you needed to, you could scale the model to make it fit the photo better. Drop a shadow catcher material onto the floor plane. This catches the shadows while keeping the background completely transparent. Let's darken the clock's body plastic a bit for better contrast. Now let's tweak the lighting. We'll drop in a cube primitive to test things out. Hide the clock for a moment and place the cube. Create a spotlight to match the direction of the shadow in the photo. You can position it using the ambience composer or just by looking through the light itself. Select the shadow catcher material and use the eyedropper to dial in the shadow color. Pick a dark brown straight from the image to help it blend naturally. Let's swap that cube primitive for a sphere. Scale its radius up to 15 and give it a metal material. This acts as a chrome ball so we can check our environment reflections. From the library, bring in an interior environment that feels similar to the room in the photo. Rotate the IBL so the window in the HDRI matches where the real light is coming from. Tweak the environment saturation to match the overall lighting vibe. Hide the chrome ball and bring the clock back. Now the clock is picking up realistic lighting and reflections from the scene. Let's dial back the brightness of the letters by lowering the white level on their plastic material. Crank the screen glass IOR up to 1 to get some stronger reflections. Boost the screen's emissive intensity to 60. Next, let's grab a circular light from the library. Place it off to the side and turn it way down to add a subtle rim light. And there we go. The first scene is perfectly integrated. All that's left is setting your resolution and sampling level in the render panel and hitting Final Render. Since the model is already textured, let's tackle a second camera match. Hop back into fSpy and load up the second photo. Snap the points onto their axes, holding Shift for precision. Flip the Z-axis by choosing the negative X option. Drop in the XY guide and set your origin point on a table corner. Set your X-axis reference scale, which for this table is 44 centimeters. Save this new fSpy file as Table B. Back in Maverick, fire up the fSpy importer again. Pick your Table B file. This time, leave the new floor option unchecked since we'll just reuse the one we already have. Leave Set Active Camera checked and keep units in centimeters. Now grab the existing floor and update its size to 44 by 32. Drag the new photo into the backplate slot and match the render resolution to it again. Temporarily swap the floor's shadow catcher for a standard material just so we can see it. Use the Move tool to line the geometry right up with the table corner in the photo. Reapply the shadow catcher to the floor. Slide the clock into its new spot for this composition. Tweak the spotlight's rotation to match the shadow angle in this new picture. Shift the top light around to give the object better volume. Drop the glass IR down to 1.5 to soften the reflections under this specific lighting. To make the clock cast a shadow onto the vase in the photo, let's create a cylinder primitive. Give it 64 segments and place it exactly where the vase sits. Clone the floor material and drop it onto the cylinder. Play with the radius and scale until it matches the bulk of the real vase. To stop this cylinder from casting its own shadow onto the floor, we'll use trace sets. Select the cylinder and give it Trace Set ID 2. Select the floor and add an exclusion for Trace Set ID 2. That tells the floor to ignore the cylinder, preventing double shadows since they're already in the raw photo. And with that, the second scene is good to go. Save the file and dial in your final render settings. Here are the final composites for both shots. They look awesome, and hopefully, this tutorial makes camera matching way less tedious for you. As you've seen, combining fSpy and Maverick makes the whole process a breeze.